What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel. You're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk everything EDC gear here. And today we're checking out a box that just showed up in the mail from Forever Steel. Making a debut here in the channel. Of course, I'll have this one linked in the description and pinned comments, just like every other knife you'll see in this video. But without further ado, let's get in here. Forever Steel Studio, original design, quality, performance, make the best EDC. Forever Steel. Boom. And this is a pretty high quality premium feeling pouch right here. Looks really nice. Got the Forever Steel leather patch here in the front, but let's go ahead and cut to the chase, if you know what I mean. Let's see what this one here is all about. Oh man, oh man. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is gonna be something. This is gonna be something here for sure. What are we looking at? Let's find out together here. This is a interesting model here from Forever Steel. Got a little bit of oil and things going on here, so let's go ahead and wipe this first. All right, it's brand new out of the box. If you had any doubts. All right, here we go. What are we looking at here, ladies and gentlemen? Well, for starters, I'm going to dig in the whole gold accents because you have the 50 shades of gray going on here. Got a little bit of a lighter bee-blasted tie here, a little bit of a darker titanium going on, right? All gray, right? Different shades. The blade itself has some gray portions as well, some satin finish portions. Then you got that gold to really add that nice pop, right? Is it a karambit? Is it just a regular knife? What is going on here? One thing for sure though, it is going to be a frame lock. It looks like we have a front flipper. We do have a either index or pinky ring back there. So, ooh, even check this out, right? How the blade perfectly aligns into that portion. That is absolutely insane, right? Very interesting machining right there. Very center, to say the least. But without further ado, let's get this thing deployed. We do have very, big but short thumb studs. Also get interesting, but I'm going to go front flipper all the way. Here we go. If you're ready, I'm ready. Hold on. Let me not lose this thing. Oh, there we go. Okay, we got to do that again. Hold on a second. All right, here we go. Aha. All right, one more time. Loving the drop shot action. There we go. Now, I'm also noticing, and this is pretty epic too, I've never seen thumb studs that tuck into the actual handle. That is actually pretty epic, right? The way that works. Check that out. Oh man. All right, that's looking interesting. All right, got a little bit of B going on there with the triangle and a circle. And then we got this epic blade. All right, hold on. Let's get the blade police out here, guys, because, yeah, I probably might be getting this one wrong. So it is a little bit of a Persian, right, or trailing point. We got that. It is going to be a dual grind. So we got that going as well. It is sort of a tanto. So it's going to be a dual ground trailing point tanto. How about that, right? Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? If I got it wrong, let me know in the comments for sure. Right, I don't see anywhere what kind of steel we're working with. They typically put it somewhere discreet. But I mean, I do like the fact that there's no billboarding going on the blade. I wonder if when I close it, right, I do see Forever Steel on this side, but I don't see anything on this side. So there we go. That's a satisfying click open right there. But hold on. I think I saw multiple different options here. So thumb stud deployment, maybe, perhaps. Come on now. Can I? Thumb deploy. Now we got quite the detent right here. That's a strong detent. So I'm trying to thumb deploy. All right, I need to get some practice there, especially because of how small the thumb stud is. Now we do have, I saw a fuller on this side, so I'm gonna try to use that fuller for deployment. Oh man, come on, that's it. That's where it's at from the beginning, right? Fuller deployment. Come on now, right? That absolutely feels like money.
Money!
Bam. Yeah, I can do that all day right there for sure. Right, that is absolutely, I think it's a massive understatement, right? How beautiful that blade looks, right? Especially with the gray, with the satin portions. Some people don't like two-tone blades, but I feel like they did a really good job here, and it definitely plays with the aesthetics. Even this portion right here in the middle, this triangle or whatnot going on there. That's interesting. Now, also looking at the pivots, it looks like you could use a flathead screwdriver, nothing crazy, but they managed to make it tastefully on both sides. You can use a flathead right there, that's fine. And it being a frame lock and all, we do have a steel insert for steel on steel contact. We can see the contact right here. It's about, what, 10% or so right? Nothing crazy. You still got a long life there to go. Don't have a cutout for access to the lock bar from the show side, but we do have a little bit of a chamfer on both ends, so we can push down and to the left, right? That makes it pretty easy to disengage. And of course, I love the drop shot action here. It's a little bit of a shake shutter, right? We're kind of breaking it in. The blade weight is going to do most of the job. Okay, front flipper feels good, but you typically would want a pocket clip here, something to hang on to. I don't see that we have a pocket clip on this one, and that was pretty much everything on the box, unless I'm missing something. Looks like I'm not. So yeah, this is an interesting one because you won't use a. We don't have a pocket clip, but I'm not sure what this is for. So what's happening with? Oh, hold on. Wait oh, wait. Wait a minute, is this thing going Transformers on me? What is happening here, ladies and gentlemen? Well, you know it doesn't have a pocket clip, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. You push this button and a pocket clip spawns on the other side. What is going on? Wait a minute. I'm not even kidding. So this ought to do something. So I'm trying to pinch it here. And I want to say, for the sake of the design, I mean, I get what they're going for. I'm not sure that I'm able to, like, that's the max. So I'm pushing it all the way. I'm not sure that I'm able to get a good enough pinch. And I don't want to have to do this every time I want to put it in my pocket. So I'll have to test that and see how that works. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, I'm going to go ahead and bring one of my jeans out here to get scientific with it. I'm really curious to see how this works. Again, I mean, like, you can always pinch and pull here like this, but, you know, ideally, I don't necessarily want to be doing that all the time. I know that this one has a bit of a flathead cutout there. It is spring-loaded, and I do like what it's going for, right? The fact that it tucks in, it helps with, obviously, the design. Kind of like one of those car door handles that, you know, kind of fold in and they sit flush for aerodynamics. Well, obviously here it's going to help with the ergos and whatnot, but let's see. In theory, if I push here, so this is pushed, the button is pushed all the way. Okay. I mean, you obviously it's not gonna be a deep pocket carry clip or anything, but let's try that again. So, okay, let's go with my jeans pretty well there. Let's try that again. So as long as you can line up this bit, you might need to hold the seam of the pocket there for it to work better. But it looks like it adjusts. Has a little bit of a ramp, so it adjusts, and then you just basically push it down all the way. So maybe I was overthinking it, and I'm glad we did this test, because you're probably wondering the same at home. So again, third time is the charm. Let's do that again. Again, I'm pushing the button here from the other side. So here we go. Bam, right? Doesn't get more scientific than that. So if you appreciate the jean pocket test, give the video a thumbs up. So now that we got that taken care of, right? Also notice there's a little bit of Forever Steel written underneath. Now it's a little attention to detail. You probably won't be able to see it unless I put some light in there, but there you go, right? You can see the little Forever Steel milling underneath the pocket clip, which, again, they didn't have to go that hard, but they absolutely did. So it's a nice little hidden Easter egg right there. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and test the ergos. And I got to tell you, right, I can do a full 4-finger grip without having to put the pinky and the ring back here. And that feels not bad at all. And I don't have to worry about a pocket clip being a sore spot. So that's definitely something here. And I can put my thumb here on the tang of the blade. That feels pretty good as well. Obviously, we'll do our scientific cutting test here in just a moment. If I were to put the pinky in the hole, I guess that could still work. But my hands are not that wide or that big, so that kind of feels a little bit unnatural to me, because it's bringing my hand a little bit, you know, further back here. So when I'm cutting, I want to be as close to the edge as possible here for better control. The good news is you do have this portion here, which works as a finger guard, right? And in my case, again, I can get a full purchase. It really depends on your size of hands, but ergos are pretty good. I'm going to give it a good 9 out of 10, right? Not too bad. It does get a little bit thin here, even though it's quite, you know, it has some size. It's a little bit on the girthy side here, or thick side, right? It is still a little bit slim. Now, the other detail you probably missed, and I know I definitely missed this whole time, Guys, this is an integral knife. What does an integral knife mean? Well, it means that this whole piece right here is made out of titanium, right, which is absolutely epic. Right, you can see here there's no backspacer, there is no standoffs. This one whole thing is made out of titanium, which is absolutely epic there, to say the least. And you can see it from the inside as well. There is no milling on the inside or anything like that. It's just one solid chunk of titanium. And again, I think this whole part right here where the blade even very precisely lines up with the handle, it's also pretty cool the way they did all that. But yeah, imagine if I had gone through that whole video and not realized it was an integral this whole time. That is absolutely epic. And in case you don't know, having an integral knife is gonna typically, cost-wise, it does cost more to machine a handle like this one out of one solid piece of titanium than it does doing two separate titanium scales and then piecing it together with either a backspacer or standoffs. So that's just something to keep in mind there as well. But yeah, now that we got the ergos out of the way, let's go ahead and get some measurements here on this guy. Overall length coming in at a whopping 9 inches, right? For my big knife people, Miguel, where are the big knives at? I got you right here, this one. The blade is going to be a whopping tip to handle 3.75 with a cutting path of 4 inches on the dot. And then handle here from one tip to the other, we're looking at 5 1/4, pretty much 5 1/4 inches. Now while we're here, let's get my calipers and get a quick thickness on the blade. Thickest portion is 0.15. That's a little bit thicker than the average 0.5 in the channel. And I want to say the thickest portion of the handle, including this pocket clip portion right here, also want to factor that in, 0.54, right? 0.54 with the average in the channel being 0.5, so half an inch. This one is just a little bit over, but nothing crazy. And last but not least, let's do a quick weight on this bad boy. Now, it is a large knife. It's all metal, right? There's no carbon fiber, no micarta, or no G10 here. So it's all metal. Titanium obviously being lighter than steel. The blade itself is steel. And we do have a insert here on the lock bar, but that's about it. Everything else should be tie, including, all the hardware and everything. So with that in mind, let's see here. I'm going to go with 6.5, between 6.5 and 7, right? Let's see how close I am. Well, actually a little bit less. Look at that. I overestimated 5.5 ounces or 155 grams. That's pretty good right there, weight-wise. Obviously, it makes sense. You have a larger knife. It makes sense. It will weigh just a little bit more, but nothing crazy. I'll say I'm getting used to the front flipper there quite a bit, and you don't need, like I'm getting used to it not being a pocket clip on this side. So I'm getting used to that. Now, I'm not really often used to having a pocket clip on the show side. So that means I will carry this guy kind of like a lefty, or yeah, that's pretty much how that will work, because there's no way to turn the pocket clip to this side. There's no cutout for it, right? This is the lock bar side. So it only makes sense to have the pocket clip on this one side. So that's about the only thing. But again, you barely notice because of the fact that it sits so flush. But you would carry this knife, if you're a righty, it'd be best if it was on your left pocket, because then you still get the blade against the seam of your pocket. Instead of carrying it on the right hand side, then you got the blade also where your hand goes, so you can avoid that. And anyway, even though it doesn't seem like you have any opportunity of opening this guy on the pocket, it's just better off against the seam in any scenario. Well, let's of course do some size comparisons here. This one's got quite the length, so it should give some of the EDC knives here a run for their money, like this Microtech MSI or the Stitch. All right, definitely very comparable there, as you can see. Here's the PM2 and the Para 3. Take a look there. PM2 is a little bit, right? PM2 is still a little bit shorter, so is the Para 3, as you can see. Here's the Demko AD 20.5 and the Kunwu Chad. Take a look at those. All right, you guys be the judge there. And on the more budget end of things, we got the Civivi Vision FG. We got the Kizer Militaw. Right, those are still a little bit shorter as well. And again, I'll have links to all these in the description and pinned comments if you want to check them out. I also have content on every single one of these here in the channel. If you want to learn more, just put the knife name Miguel EDC on the YouTube search box and you'll find those right away. That is the Vosteed Porcupine and the CJRB Pyrite Light. So hopefully you own some of those. I'll give you more or less a ballpark where this one lands. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get scientific with it here. Let me get a feel for... Oh yeah, that is a very slicey edge right there. Passes my scientific nail test. And then here we go, 5x zoom. Yeah, we're getting swirls falling off of the paper here. Absolutely biting right away. So, full slices, bam, boom. I'm curious to see if this front part cuts, and it absolutely does. So there you go. Most of your cut, though, is going to be with this portion. Bam, boom. Even comes with sound effects, by the way, so if yours doesn't come with sound effects as you cut, I got a bit of a tear that one time for some reason. But let's, yeah, clearly you can cut paper, no doubt. Let's do some cardboard right here, single wall piece of cardboard cutting at a diagonal angle here, like this for better performance. Should look something like this. Here we go. Okay, little samurai style cut right there. Bam, boom. Yeah, needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, the knife cuts very well. Now, I did taper off that one time. That's something to keep in mind there with the tanto like this. So you want to carry the cut as much as possible in this one area. And I want to say it feels like we have a hollow grind here and a flat grind towards the front. So there's that. They're not both flat. It is a hollow and flat combo. One last one. Can we squeeze one last one in here? Oh yeah, we absolutely can, guys. Guys, rate this thing in the comments, right? Rate that factory edge, right? How sharp is it out of the box, right? You guys let me know. 10 being the sharpest. Now the name on this one, hopefully I'm not gonna butcher it, is the Tyokutuk. Hopefully I'm saying that right. You know, it's a Japanese word, I think, and you have to say it. You have to speak from diaphragm. The Tyokutuk. Yeah, very very interesting knife. Something absolutely different here. Got multiple deployment options here. Absolutely something you don't see every day. It is an integral knife. It has the premium materials. Very interesting pocket clip, which we tested. I like the fact that it tucks in so nicely. Again, kind of borrowing that whole idea from like a car door handle. Most electric cars these days have a hiding door handle that just tucks in, sits perfectly flush with the rest of the body. So that's very interesting that we have that going on here. The machining, the fit and finish, right? How the blade even tucks into the ring part. It gives you something to pinch and pull here or put your finger on and pull out of the pocket. I want to say you do have a pretty good D10 on there, so I still gotta work out the thumb deployment there because it's a little bit on the strong side. But that reverse flick with the filler right here, this is genius. That's my #1 right there, and that front flipper, right, is my #2. So guys, let me know your thoughts on this one. What do you guys like about it? What do you love about it? Is there anything you dislike about it? Let me know. Let's hang out in the comment section down below. We'd definitely love to hear your thoughts on this one. Hope you guys really enjoyed this one. If you made it to the end, you're the real MVP. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one, either this one or this one. Peace.